Hello and welcome to this mid-morning taste challenge. I have two single malt whiskies, Ardbeg Peat Bomb. Yes, Herbie. Hello, Herbie from India. And I have Trader Joe's Highland single malt Scotch whiskey, bourbon cask finish, double maturation. It's aged in regular oak of some sort. They just say oak cask, and then finished in bourbon cask, and it gives it a very corn flavor. Maize, if you live in Europe, I guess. India might say maize also. And to me, it tastes like corn nuts. Now, I looked at the corn nuts website this morning, which is Hormel Foods, and they said that it's only sold at Walgreens in my town. Well, I was just at Kangaroo Express convenience store, and there it was, three different varieties on the shelf. So obviously, their locator tool is not that reliable. All right. The competitor is Ardbeg, the ultimate Islay single malt Scotch whiskey, aged 10 years. Non-chill filtered, natural color, comes in this olive green bottle, helps protect it from the light. Introduced in 2000 in the year 2000. So it hasn't been on the market really that long, 25 years. Ardbeg goes back to 1815, Napoleon's last year of, in the game till the Battle of Waterloo and present day Belgium, and then he was bye-bye. Cork, foil cap cover. Cork. Now the price, I paid $44.99 for the Ardbeg 10, and I paid $17.99 for the Trader Joe's. True story. I got Trader Joe's Highland Malt bourbon cask finish, $17.99. Let me see what I paid for the other ones, because I bought three. I bought the sherry cask, the bourbon cask, and the rum cask. I don't know if they're all Highland, so let's see. Kept this receipt. Highland sherry cask. And Highland rum cask. Okay, so they're all the same whiskey, obviously, just treated, finished with different casks. Okay, that's cool. All right, Ardbeg 10, the ultimate, really is the ultimate. I want to buy more of it. Craig Swinson in Maine. Hello, Craig Swinson up there in Maine. Awesome to catch a live video. I remember I used to watch them very often, but my work schedule is much different these days. That's understandable. I've not tried either one of these products. Okay, I strongly recommend Trader Joe's just because it's nice, and I paid $17.99. But this one here, oh man. The bottle says the ultimate. It is the ultimate. If you want smoke, peaty smoke. Now, if you're not into smoke, you might want to avoid it. Beautiful cap. Avoid it. It's owned by, now the Ardbeg distillery these days is owned by L.V.M.H. Louis Vuitton Moet Hennessy Company. It's like a collaboration. Also, I think Heineken. Is it Heineken or Diageo has like almost a nearly half ownership of it? I can't remember. All right. But there's a lot of people involved. So it's got a very dark brown label. It looks like it's black, but it's dark brown with gold and white. Sea spray, tarry rope. I'm not sure what a tarry rope is. Immense smoky intensity. I'll go along with that. 46% alcohol. Have I found a Scotch yet to top it? No, I haven't. A single malt. I wouldn't want to compare a blended because it's not a fair comparison. But have I found a single malt yet to top it? No way. Natural color, as they say. Look how clear. That's straw. That's what it looks like when you don't add color in. After 10 years in the barrel and non-chill filtered. They make no such claims with this Trader Joe's. I have to close my eyes, obviously, because if I glance, well, there's no way I'm going to get them mixed up anyway. It's a moot point. Ardbeg 10 years old, a revered single malt. Ardbeg 10 is revered around the world as the peatiest, smokiest, most complex single malt of them all. Yet it does not flaunt the peat. Rather, it gives way to the natural sweetness of malt to produce a whiskey of perfect balance. Light gold. Oh, it's awesome. Then you can read all this on your own. These tasting notes, aroma notes, finishing notes. They give the distillery tours. There's all kind of other technical details there. This is not, there's many Ardbegs, believe me, there's many. On the distillery, the history, the rise and fall of Ardbeg. I think it's one of those that went out of business at a time, because these things happen with these distilleries. Scotch whiskey for a while wasn't really popular. You know, there was a time when it's like, wasn't popular. Year 2000, Ardbeg 10 years old, and Ardbeg committee launches. So you can read all of that on your leisure, because at your convenience, because I put the link. Is it as smoky as Johnny Walker Black? I don't know. I've never had Johnny Walker Black, so I can't comment. I don't have a lot of experience, but I remember that one was really nice. I've had double black, but not the black. Sub 10 says Ardbeg aged 10 year. Now you're talking. This got me into whiskey. Yeah. Doesn't get you into whiskey, you ain't getting into whiskey. It ain't for you. Believe me, if this doesn't get you into whiskey, whiskey ain't for you. Drink something else. Drink rum, brandy, drink gin. I don't know. Okay. All right. It's smoky. Now, I think the Finlagan was smokier on the nose. My mind's telling me the Finlagan was smokier. Here, we're not getting too much. It's kind of neutral. Taste time. Cheers. Ardbeg 10. Well, there isn't going to be much challenge here, because you don't have to keep your eyes closed, because there's no way you're going to confuse the smoky bomb, inky, smoky, briny, sea salt. I don't think it has salt. Iodine thing with this cornmeal. That's not a put down. That's a description. It tastes like bourbon, no char. Not that, and not in that sense. But it tastes like bourbon because of that corn, nuts, corn kernel. Now some in Scotland were telling me we don't get corn nuts in our country or Ireland. I said, okay, but you probably get whole kernel corn or maize. They call it maize over there. So that's what it tastes like. There's no corn in it. No corn at all. It's finished in bourbon barrels. It's made with 100% malted barley. Okay. So can a barrel finish really change your perception of the product? Well, obviously, it's doing it here. Now, what is this finished in? The Ardbeg 10. It just says aged 10 years. It doesn't say what kind of barrels. So I don't know. Love that. I love that olive green glass, man. It's the sharpest looking thing. It's the best looking bottle in the world. It's still $55.99. I paid $44.99. Is it the best value in the world? Probably. Look at that island. Could the ownership changes affect it? I guess anything could happen, you know. Anything can happen. I don't know what to say. You would hope not. Ideal. There's sweetness though. Now you notice the Finlagen. If you watched earlier, it didn't have any sweetness that I could notice. I didn't talk about it. I'm picking it up here. Sweet, smoky. Now Finlagen is old reserve is only aged 6 years, so you're losing 4 years on aging. So could it compete with Ardbeg 10? I think it does compete. When I did a solo, when I did a well solo, I was alone, but I when I did a blind taste test between those two, it did sort of compete. It did, but still something about Ardbeg. I want to finish off on the Ardbeg, so let me sip on the because this is it for the Trader Joe's. Now starting uh, next week, not this week, but starting next week, we're going into blended Scotch, and I've got McCormick blended Scotch. So get ready for that. Grain, bread, cereal grain, bread, and emphasizing corn kernels, maize, corn, maize, where depending where you live. When I went to Spain, uh, 2023, on the side, the can, the beer cans or bottles, they would show the ingredients and it would say maize, you know, barley, however they say that in Spanish, something, agua, of course, water, something. And then lupullo was the hop, but it would say maize. It wouldn't say corn. Hello, Bill. PG-13, the Bill Hound Show. How do, Ronaroo? Hello, Bill. Good to see you. Well, I don't actually see you, but I have comments. I would consider this a winner, not the thing, but it's pleasant. Yeah, it's nice. In the B range, good. I don't remember what I scored it in the solo video, but yeah, B, good. It's nice. And for 17.99, what the heck? But the Ardbeg 10, oh man, can you believe I've been dry for a year today? Oh my gosh. 1 year, huh? Wow, congratulations. And I faced some difficulty with that. Well, alcohol's not for everybody. Definitely not. Some people can drink, can just put it away, say, all right, that's it for today. And some people don't have a stop sign. They don't stop. So it's a problem, it can be it can be a real problem. Oh, you're welcome. As far as drugs, I never had an interest in that. So thank God, when I was in high school, people would be like, "Yeah, man, marijuana, so forth," and I was like, "That ain't for me." I like watching Speed Race and old Batman reruns and eats, you know, talking to girls, but drugs just didn't. I just didn't. I had cousins and all they were. I was like, my attitude. I don't see anything good coming from this. And of course, oh, you don't like to have fun. You're a nerd. You're what you call uptight or something. I was like, okay, whatever you say. I don't care what you say because I'm not going to do it. But they were like insistent. It's funny, because it doesn't make any difference to me what other people do. If they wanted to take medicine, if you want to call it medicine, drugs, dope, whatever you want to call it, if they want to take that's their business. It made no difference to me, except that I thought it was a bad idea. I thought it was a bad idea, but I wasn't towards. So hey, that's your call, baby. But they changed. They didn't act right after that. They started acting. I mean, really strange. And then we didn't hang out anymore because I didn't have anything in common with them. They want to do their. We used to like to listen to rock albums. So like, oh, I got this new Metallica album. I got this new Judas Priest album. I'm not too sure about this Judas Priest album from 1984. It's kind of, it's not that great. But We talk about it, talk about ABBA, talk about the Beatles, talk about the Judas Priest, Metallica, Gary Newman, the Velvet Underground, all these bands, and then they started using drugs, and then it was like they didn't want to talk about nothing. They want to go hang out with their other drug friends. But like I said, I just stopped hanging out with them. I didn't go around saying, "Let me tell y'all what to do." I just I used to like to go to football games. That was what I liked. But anyway, it's all about what you want to do. It's your business. I stopped for health reasons. That's a good reason to stop. Got 2 years today clean from all drugs. That's a really good thing. I'm still friends with all my beer friends. Yeah, that's good. That's good. I never really had beer friends in high school or anything because, well, back then, 83, 84, 85, 86, people weren't really into beer per se. They would drink Meisterbrow because they were in high school and it was cheap, or Milwaukee's Best, or, and if they were really like from the good part of town, they would drink Michelob and Budweiser. No, mean, but you know what I'm saying? Like, there wasn't like an evaluation system. It was all about, they would just get drunk. It wasn't about, oh, let's evaluate the product. I like the subtle complexity of how the hops interact with the malt. That didn't exist at the time, except in a very niche, very obscure world. But I wasn't into that. I used to have a very sensitive stomach. I would get sick to my stomach easy back then. At age 19, that went away. I don't know why, it was like a miracle, went away. But and then I never get sick now. I mean, otherwise than normal. But the ones that started using the drugs, they start acting different. And I basically never talked to them since like 1984. One died, he's dead. He was like off to some other world. He was in some other world. And his usage was heavy. We'll say that. And he died, what, a couple of years ago? For some kind of way. I don't know how he died. I didn't ask the details. It was sad. It was really sad. And he told me this, I'm not making this up. In his driveway, I can tell you the address if you want it. But I mean, obviously you don't. He said, don't ever smoke marijuana. What do you say? Well, I was never going to do it anyway. Like I said, I had no interest in that. He said, oh yeah, I remember what he said. He said, don't ever smoke marijuana because I was addicted the first time I tried it. That's his words. I was addicted the first time I tried it. It's my whole life. His words, not mine. But he didn't have to tell me that. I could see that. He said, I tried cocaine. It was like nothing to me. He said, I tried it, but it was like it didn't have any effect. It was just like neutral, nothing. He said, so I had no interest in that. And he said, well, of course, I tried all the other drugs, whatever, you could name them all, fill out the checklist. But he said they weren't too interesting to me. I didn't see why people were into that. But that's just him. He was always very analytical about things. He was very scientific, hit aquariums. He could have been a scientist instead of a drug addict. But he said, but something about marijuana, it just like took over my whole thinking or whatever. And I could see that, obviously. But we didn't hang out no more, He came to see me, but not too much. And but really, he never really came to see me. And when his mother died, I went to the funeral, and it was terrible, But anyway, we were drinking MD 2020 and Thunderbird back in the day, laughing out loud. I remember people talking about it, of course. High school, junior high, I can remember people talking about it. Always talking about Mad Dog, like it was a legend, like some kind of awe, And it would be all some kind of crazy story. It was some kind of terrible result. You can use your imagination, getting sick or whatever. But MD 2020 was like some kind of legend back in 1981, 82, 83. And so I knew about it. Like I said, I didn't care about it. And even back then, I can remember this clear as a bell. People would say, MD 2020 stands for Mogan David. wine. Well, everybody knew Mogen David wine because most everybody's parents drank that. So I can remember thinking, that makes sense, MD. I'm just thinking, it's a variant of the main product. So that was kind of known. That was not a mystery. I'm talking about here, Louisiana, 1981, 82, 83. MD 2020 was Mogen David because people would talk about that then. Talking about then. It's unfortunate. Okay, comments, and I got to go check on this meat about to burn up on the grill. We were dying. Oh, it's unfortunate what's happening today out there. Stay away from that stuff, says Wings and Pizza. I always did stay away from it. I don't want to. I just always thought, but I did watch Good Times when JJ and his girlfriend. Remember that episode? It was a 2-part. Parental discretion advised. I remember I was traumatized by that. I was like, dang. Because I'm 6 years old, or 7, maybe so. I don't know nothing about drugs, but I'm thinking if you're going to do that, climb out a window or disappear in the middle of the night, that doesn't seem too good to me. Weed was very addictive, though. Yeah, weed was light compared to what I was into. Laughing out loud, says Bill. Yeah, well, that's even scarier. MD 2020 was the Four Loko back then. Laughing out loud. Yeah. So I remember that, I can very clearly remember. I can remember everything, honestly. That's why I taught history. I could always remember everything, like my 3rd birthday party. I remember what the cake looked like. I remember who was at the party. I remember where we were sitting. I remember it was around 1 in the afternoon. I can remember that just like it was today. And but yeah, I just thought this is not what I want to deal with. But that's me. I didn't preach to people though, like, didn't do it. All right. Anyway, enough of this. Oh, the Ardbeg 10. Oh, I could get familiar with this. I could get in a habit with this. Oh man. But I'm not in a whiskey habit. I really don't drink whiskey. I said this a million times. I never drink whiskey. People are like, when you get home from work, you probably drink some whiskey. I have to be honest. I never drink it. Ever. I never drink it after work, before work, during work. Thankfully, not during work, but I just don't drink it. I don't care about drinking whiskey. I care nothing about it. And if you want to call me a nerd or a uptight, whatever, I do taste challenges. But beyond that, and I only do those, 365? Is it 365? It's probably not quite 365, but I could be miscalculating. But besides that, I don't mess with it. I don't want to mess with it. I'm not interested in it. All right. Well, enough of that. Now, beer, I'll admit to that. I do drink beer every day, and I do drink wine every day. I have to admit, but not cigars. Since Lent started cigars for this cat. No way, baby. Me and cigars have a divorce. A divorce, you stinking rotten. But we might have a reconciliation during Easter Sunday. But that's another story. But not during Lent. I don't even know what is a cigar. Don't even show that. I'm sorry for showing that warning. That's so bad looking. That's such a bad. I'm for free enterprise. I don't believe in showing that kind of stuff on the internet or even in public. But we might have a reconciliation during Easter Sunday. But if you want to get techno, I don't really even feel like talking about it. What's your go-to beer? If you got into weed, you wouldn't have such a great memory today. I know. I don't want to mess with it. I never smoked marijuana in my whole life, and I want to keep it that way. What's beer these days? Oh, what's your go-to beer these days? My go-to beer is Natural Ice. Actually, it's kind of a nice mid-range. It's strong in abilities, but it's got the low enough calories so I can stay trim. And the price is right. $22 for a 30-pack. I would rather back when it was $14.50 for a 30-pack. I preferred 2014 when it was $14.50. But thank you, everybody. So the winner Obviously, you knew that before you ever watched the video. The clear and present winner is Ardbeg 10, but who would have ever doubted that? Not anybody on the planet Earth. No knock against the Trader Joe's. It's an all right product, and I would recommend it with considerations brought up, you see. All right. So anyway, thank you, Trader Joe's. Let me do a great taste challenge series, even though you only won once, because I got confused one time out of like 15 challenges. And then we're going to go to McCormick. Now, McCormick, I think, is all right, but I think it got discontinued. They're not showing it on the website anymore. That doesn't really mean anything, because I was looking at Twisted Tea Extreme. I bought some Twisted Tea Extreme, 8%. If you look at their website, it don't exist, but I know it exists. I see it at the store. Okay, Ron, have a great day and good chatting with you. Same to you, Bill. Anytime, contact me. You know where I am. I'm friends on Facebook. Anytime. Love to chat with people. I'm not chatty. I said on my Facebook, I'm not chatty, but I like to talk to people. All right, y'all.